Cold out there. Oh, hold on. Greenbow, Alabama. Oh, yes. Alabama versus Ohio State. Gumps versus the Suck Nuts. Why people keep saying, you know, I just realized this helmet came with the stupid stickers on the inside. I think those are Bucknut stickers they should put on the helmet, not putting them on. People keep saying, what is a Bucknut? Ohio Buckeyes. What is a Buckeye? It's a nut. It's a nut so shitty, not even a squirrel will eat it. But here's the thing about Dan Mullen. Now, there's been... Hell, I've got 3,000 videos just on this channel. Never mind the other channel. I've made all kinds of ridiculous claims and accusations and guesses and predictions. And, you know, some have been right, some have been wrong. Now, you guys, you know, you've got every wrong thing I've ever said memorized. And I've never heard anybody say anything about any of the things I ever get right. But believe it or not, there have been a few things Uncle Lou has been right about over the years. I'm not just talking about week to week. Who wins and loses games. I mean overarching things that I have rode. Turned out to be right on 3 big ones. Jeremy Pruitt would be a dud and a failure. No one wanted him. No one wanted the Tennessee job. It wasn't going to work, period. End of story. That's 100% true and accurate. Jeremy Pruitt, still works at Tennessee, technically. But he's getting fired. Does anyone not know that? It's a matter of time. Will it happen tomorrow? I don't know. If it doesn't happen by February 3rd, it's not happening this year. But it'll happen soon. Or is it February 5th? Tennessee owes Jeremy Pruitt $200,000 bonus, like February 5th or something like that. So if they don't fire him by February 5th, he's your coach next year, in which case he's getting fired after next year. But anyway, I told you that when he was hired. I was right. Willie Taggart. I said, look, Willie Taggart don't know what he's doing. Period. I said this when he was hired. I said he doesn't deserve the job. He hasn't really been successful anywhere he's been. He definitely hasn't earned the right to get this job at Florida State. This is going to be an epic disaster and a failure. And, you know, what'd they tell me? Oh, I'm a racist. He's a black coach. That's the only reason I'm saying that. Never mind the fact that 2 of my favorite coaches that I probably prop up even more than they deserve is James Franklin and David Shaw. I talk about them ad infinitum. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, dead right about that. Been right about a few other things too. And I'm right about Dan Mullen. And it's just a matter of time. Go back and ask Tennessee fans. 90% of Tennessee fans right now feel the exact same way about Jeremy Pruitt that I felt about him the minute he was hired. Down to the way I described him with his attitude and not getting along with people and not handling things well and just socially not being able to get along. Everything I said, everything with Willie Taggart, asked a Florida State fan. They all say the same things now about Willie Taggart I said when he was hired. And it's just a matter of time before the Florida man and the Florida fan start saying the same things Uncle Lou has been saying about Dan Mullen since the minute Florida hired him. Some of them are saying it now. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook groups. But you got to find Florida Gator Facebook groups. The Smack Talk groups are just like the comment section here. Everyone's team is going 100-0. Everyone's coach is the greatest ever. To really find out what somebody thinks about their team, you got to find a place where they talk about their team, where they think no one else is looking except other fans of their team. There are some Florida fans who already understand I was right about Dan Mullen. There are some Florida fans right now who are ready to get rid of this guy. They're ready to get rid of him already. They're talking about how he's an embarrassment to the university and, you know, that Florida's reputation and all, which... Florida's reputation. Your reputation is that you won a national title 12 years ago with a team full of murderers and gangbangers. That's your reputation. But anyway, I digress on that. Dan Mullen has been a head coach in the SEC for 12 or 13 years, and he's not won the SEC, not one time. Now, Jim Harbaugh fits this same category with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, and I talked about him earlier. And every time I talk about Jim Harbaugh, going back 2 or 3 years, I've been saying the same thing about Jim Harbaugh. I'll be right about him too. He'll be out of a job after this coming season, just like I said. Every time I talk about Jim Harbaugh, the Florida fans are like, yeah, the guy don't know what he's doing. Terrible coach. He's overpaid. I can't believe Michigan keeps sticking with this guy. He's been around forever and can't win the conference. And then, I mean, you literally want to reach through the phone and just shake the stupid right off of these Florida fans, because everything you say about Jim Harbaugh applies to Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen is a friggin' clown. Now, there are some things that Jim Harbaugh does that don't apply to Mullen. Jim Harbaugh takes his teams on these stupid-ass field trips. No one knows why. Takes the team to the Vatican. Takes the team to these African safaris. He takes them to these weird places. I don't know. But then there's some things that Dan Mullen does that Jim Harbaugh doesn't do. Jim Harbaugh doesn't show up after every single loss with a list of excuses a mile long. That's you, Dan, you clown. And this is what, more than anything else, is going to end up getting Dan fired from the University of Florida eventually at some point. A couple of things. Number one, his embarrassing press conferences and excuses and just general behavior when things aren't going his way, right? You go back to the Texas A&M game this year. A last-minute loss on the road for Florida, their first loss of the year. Clown shows up in the post-game press conferences and actually blames the loss on crowd size. And it just gets worse from there. There was 30,000 people there, and he blamed the loss on that. Oh, there's 30,000 people instead of 20,000. I mean, what do you expect? Normally, there's 100,000 people at a road game. So blaming the loss on there being 30,000 people there is just insane. But then he goes on to say, I demand that the administration at the University of Florida pack Ben Hill Griffin trash can with 100,000 people next week, and on and on and on. Basically now, turning it around onto his own administration. Why are we limiting tickets? I want 100,000 jean short wearing croc with socks, inbred, meth addicted, bath salt, nit-witted, retard. I apologize for that. I got a little carried away there. And decided to cut that little part off. Never mind. It's about 45 minutes later now, and Uncle Lou's calmed down a little bit. Point is, he comes out after the Texas A&M game and demands that his administration allow them to let 100,000 people in the stadium. And literally 2 days later, half his team has coronavirus, and he has it too. I mean, the guy just, it's almost like he walks. I think he does. I think Dan Mullen walks around looking for piles of shit to step in. I really do. Anyway, then he loses to LSU. That was the whole shoe game. Remember that? He comes out and says, well, as far as the shoe thing goes, as far as I could tell, in the process of making the tackle, our defensive player ended up with the other guy's shoe in his hand, and when he stood up, it kind of just tumbled down. I'm just thinking, what is this? This guy, it's just ridiculous. And then you fast forward to the bowl game, and they just got absolutely drugged up and down the field for 3.5 hours by Oklahoma in one of, if not the most embarrassing New Year's Six performances I've ever seen by next year's Florida team, by the way. And how do we know that's true? Well, because Dan Mullen comes out and tells us that after the game. When they ask him about the whooping that he just took at the hands of Lincoln Riley, does he accept defeat like a man and take the L and congratulate Oklahoma? And no, he doesn't do any of that. He says, that wasn't us. That wasn't this team. This Florida team played our last game 11 days ago. That was a bunch of walk-ons and scout players. What a slap in the face to the players that did play in that game, Dan. The clown level is a million. It's embarrassing to the administration. They've had enough. In fact, there was some smoke and rumors a week or two ago that, his post-game antics, the brawl that he nearly incited on the field. Again, what game was that? Was that Missouri or whoever the hell it was? He just about incited a brawl and dresses up like the Darth Vader for his post-game press conference. I mean, this guy, his clown level is through the roof, and the administration's had just about enough. Then you throw on top of that the fact that it becomes public that they've been on probation and recruiting restrictions, and that Dan Mullen has been slapped with a show cause order by the NCAA for cheating over and over and over again when it comes to recruiting. And it looked about a week ago like maybe Dan and Florida were going to part ways. And every time I went on Twitter or the Florida groups on Facebook or wherever else, you could see the Florida fans crying and complaining, "Oh, Dan Mullen, yeah, we've had enough. He's just, he's never going to get it done. This was the team. This team was loaded. Kyle Trav, we're losing all these people. We're not going to be any good next year," which all that is true. Go back to the second half of the bowl game. That was next year's Florida team. Emory Jones is not any good. The only decent quarterback on that team was there when he got there, and that's Kyle Trask. That's it. Emory Jones is no good. Anthony Richardson is no good. Hell, Anthony Richardson, they bring him in the game and put him at wide receiver. Emory Jones, they bring him in the game for out of 10 plays, 9 of them are a quarterback draw. The guy's been there 3 years. If he could complete a pass, don't you think Dan Mullen would let him throw the ball? Of course he would. Dan Mullen, the QB whisperer, the offensive genius, been in Florida for 3 years, has no quarterback heading into next year. None. Please start Emory Jones. Y'all don't have to... Do Florida fans really think Emory Jones is going to be any good? I'm just asking. Come out now. Place your marker down now, Florida man. Don't hide. Don't wait till next year. Do you really think Emory Jones is going to be any good? Stop it. The last relevant thing Emory Jones did is going to be the only relevant thing Emory Jones ever does, which was 2 years ago when he got caught at the University of Florida running barefoot through a parking lot with a hairnet on and a frying pan in his hand, chasing a campus bookie. That's going to be the most relevant thing Emory Jones ever does at the University of Florida. That will be what he's remembered for. There's nowhere to go but down right now for Florida. They hit their absolute ceiling and peak this year under Clown Mullen. You hear me? Dan, if you're watching, and I'm pretty sure that you are, Florida's an abject disaster right now. Dan Mullen can't recruit. He's an embarrassment to the university. That's not me saying that. This is coming from within the university. He currently has a show cause order. They're coming off of probation because of him. They've had all kinds of recruiting restrictions because of him. The guy's an abject failure and a disaster. He's just a disaster. Maya Angelou. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. Dan Mullen has been showing you who he is for 12 effing years. 12 years. I want you to ask yourself, Florida fan, I want you to ask yourself, if there was any other team in the SEC, and there ain't, for a reason, but if there was any other team in the SEC who had a coach who had been a head coach in the SEC for 12 years and had 0 conference titles, what would you be saying about that coach? You would be saying the same things that Uncle Lou is saying about Dan Mullen. And it's just a matter of time, like I said at the beginning of this video, before you are saying the same things about Dan Mullen that Uncle Lou is. Dan Mullen is the next I told you so in terms of coaching here on LouTube. Jeremy Pruitt, Willie Taggart, and Dan Clown Mullen. Have a great day.